Hi, this is Kate Palmer, and today I'm going to be showing you how I made this gorgeous flower using Copics and Glitz Spritz for this beautiful magnolia card. To create this Copic coloured embellishment, you're going to need a mulberry paper flower. These ones are from Frima and they're part of their Innocence collection. I'm also using a white Frima rose. To colour this, I'll be using some stickles. This particular one is Stardust. It's got a little bit of lots of different colours. Some Glitz Spritz from Lindy's Stamp Gang. This one's Desert Moon Purple Sage. You'll also need some of the Copic Various Ink Blender. You can use the smaller bottle, it doesn't have to be the large one. And to finish it off, you'll need Copic markers V12, V15 and V17. Starting with the largest flower and the darkest Copic marker, in this case that would be V17, carefully colour the centre of the flower, avoiding the little pearl in the middle. Now, not all of the Frima flowers will have the little pearl. Some have beads, some don't have a centre at all, so just alter this as you need. This particular flower is made up of 3 layers. All you need to do is colour the very centre of each layer with the darkest of your Copic colours. Make sure that you leave some white space for the 2 remaining colours on each layer of the flower. Swap over to V15 and fully colour that very top layer, and then colour the second layer to about halfway down the petals. Then, using the same marker, the V15, start colouring that underneath layer, which is the 3rd layer down. You may notice that your flower is not looking super pretty at this point. It doesn't have to. You don't need to worry about blending the colours, just get the flower coloured in. Now swap to your lightest colour, in this case V12, and finish colouring the rest of the flower. At this point you should not expect any blending of those colours, expect to see streaks. The next step is to drip on some of the Copic Various Blending ink. As a rule of thumb, I add 1 to 2 drops per petal until the petals appear wet. The secret to these flowers is to dry straight away with a heat gun. It seems to react with the ink somehow and you get a much more varied result. If your colours are still not blended enough, a few more drops of the Various Blending ink and dry with the heat gun again. You could choose to leave your flower like this, but I love the effect when you spray a little bit of the Glitz Spritz over the top. Now this one is Desert Moon Purple Sage, and as you can see I've sprayed it directly onto the white paper rose. This will give me a really soft coloured small flower, and I'm also adding it over the top of my Copic coloured flower. Dry with the heat gun, and this is the beautiful result. You can see how those Copic colours have blended, and that Glitz Spritz over the top has really made this look like something special. You'll notice that the smaller rose is a much paler colour. That's because I've only used the Glitz Spritz on this. I did not colour it with the Copics first. But because they've both got the same colour Glitz Spritz, they do coordinate. As a final step, I'm just going to add the tiniest bit of stickles to the edges of the petals. I know that this flower is already sparkly, so I don't want to overwhelm it, but a little bit of this beautiful stickles, which is the stardust on the edges, really does make a difference. It adds a little something extra. Just don't go overboard. Now the stickles is almost impossible to catch on camera. Every time you get the image in focus, the light reflecting off the stickles actually unfocuses it. Now onto the background. So what I've done is I've stamped the background with Adirondack white dabber, that's snow cap, and a beautiful fabulous Flourish stamp from Hero Arts, just on white paper. And then I've spritzed it with water using a pale pink and a dark purple shimmer spray. Lightly spritz the cardstock. I've then wiped it off straight away with a tissue and sprayed on more water. So you get this beautiful soft pinky purple background, which is what I needed for my card here. Add texture with an embossing folder and then wipe over the raised areas with Pearlescent Chocolate ink. This is my Tilda card now that it's finished and all the embellishments are glued on. So this is how that beautiful little flower has turned out. Just turn on the side so you can see all that glimmer. Isn't that pretty? And as you tilt it, got all that gorgeous sparkle. I don't think it's got quite the right light to show that stickles up. You can just see it on the edges there. I've applied some of the gorgeous Prima Sade and Pearls. Now this was the champagne coloured set, the brown and the cream. And what I've done is I've just coloured the little cream pieces with my Copic markers in the same colour to match my image. So I've got a custom embellishment here. I've made a little tag and sprayed it with my Copics after applying Brilliance white, I think it's called Moonlight White ink, and then I've stamped over using my new Brilliance, and I think this one is the chocolate stamp pad, and added a few little ribbons here. Now to finish off the background, so I've just run it through an embossing folder, and this one is Stitches by Craft Concepts, and I've added a little bit of that chocolate Brilliance ink just lightly over the top there. Now this was one of the flowers that you saw me do, and that only has the Glitz Spritz on there. Scattered around the card I've got more of those Prima pearls. I've matched the card colours to the colours I've used on my Magnolia stamp, which is Tilda with Balloon. So I've coloured her in purple. I'm practicing my darker skin tones here, so darker dress and darker skin and everything else to match. I'm working on adding a bit more life and light into the hair on my images. I quite like the way this one's turning out. I still haven't got the, the dead glossy black shine that I'd like, but it's getting better. It doesn't look quite so flat anymore. Maybe I should have darkened those folds just a little more. And of course I can't help but make an image without a little sparkle. So this one I've got some of the Spica pen on her little bootlaces and on the lace on her dress, and of course a little bit of gold on the balloon string and a wee bit more on her headband just for a little bit of shimmer. So that's my Tilda with Balloon using a beautiful spritzed background and the flower created with the Copics and the Glitz Spritz from Lindy's Stamp Game.